In the heart of the bustling port city of Basra, where the calls of merchants and the scent of exotic spices filled the air, lived Sinbad, a daring sailor whose tales of adventure were known far and wide. Though he had already experienced many extraordinary journeys, Sinbad's thirst for new horizons remained unquenched. One evening, as he sat with his crew at the local tavern, an old sailor regaled them with tales of a distant island, inhabited by a fearsome Cyclops, and rumored to hold immense treasures. The next morning, driven by curiosity and the promise of riches, Sinbad gathered his crew and prepared the Golden Falcon, his sturdy ship. With provisions stocked and sails unfurled, they set off toward the mysterious island, guided by the old sailor's cryptic directions and a sense of adventure that burned in their hearts. After weeks of navigating treacherous waters, the Golden Falcon approached the island. From the distance, it appeared serene, covered in lush greenery and surrounded by calm seas. However, as they drew closer, the island's true nature began to reveal itself. Dark clouds loomed over its towering cliffs, and an eerie silence replaced the usual sounds of seabirds. Sinbad and his crew cautiously anchored their ship and rowed ashore. They found themselves in a dense forest, where the sunlight barely penetrated through the thick canopy. As they ventured deeper into the island, they came across ancient ruins, overgrown with vines and moss, suggesting that the island once hosted a thriving civilization. Their exploration was interrupted by a thunderous roar that echoed through the forest. The ground trembled beneath their feet as they followed the sound, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. Eventually, they reached a clearing dominated by a massive cave entrance. Sinbad, ever the fearless leader, led his crew inside, where they were greeted by the foul stench of decay and the gleam of treasure scattered across the cavern floor. As they marveled at the gold, jewels, and artifacts, a colossal figure emerged from the shadows. The Cyclops, a towering giant with a single eye in the center of its forehead, glared at the intruders. Its voice boomed like thunder, as it demanded to know who dared enter its domain. Sinbad stepped forward, addressing the Cyclops with a combination of respect and resolve. He introduced himself and explained their quest for adventure and knowledge. The Cyclops, intrigued by Sinbad's bravery, proposed a challenge. If Sinbad could solve a series of riddles and trials, he and his crew could leave with as much treasure as they could carry. However, failure would result in their doom. The first trial tested their intellect. The Cyclops presented a riddle that required them to think creatively and collaboratively. With their combined wisdom and Sinbad's quick wit, they solved the riddle, impressing the Cyclops. Next came a test of strength. The Cyclops led them to a massive boulder and challenged Sinbad to move it. Knowing he could not do it alone, Sinbad cleverly used leverage and teamwork, instructing his crew to fashion a makeshift lever from fallen trees. Together, they managed to shift the boulder, once again earning the Cyclops' respect. The final trial was a test of courage. The Cyclops led Sinbad to a narrow ledge overlooking a deep chasm filled with swirling mist. To pass, Sinbad had to cross the ledge without falling. Taking a deep breath, Sinbad stepped onto the ledge, his mind focused and his movement steady. With each step, he felt the weight of his crew's trust and the promise of the treasure ahead. Despite the peril, Sinbad reached the other side, completing the final trial. The Cyclops, impressed by Sinbad's resourcefulness, strength, and bravery, honored his promise. He allowed Sinbad and his crew to take as much treasure as they could carry. They loaded their bags with gold coins, precious gems, and priceless artifacts. However, as they prepared to leave, the Cyclops offered a final piece of wisdom. True treasure is not measured by wealth, but by the experiences and bonds forged along the journey. With the Cyclops' words echoing in their minds, Sinbad and his crew bid farewell to the island. As they sailed away, the dark clouds that had loomed over the island parted, revealing a clear, star-studded sky. The journey back to Basra was smooth, and the Golden Falcon glided through the waters, buoyed by the wind and the spirits of its triumphant crew. Upon their return, Sinbad and his crew were celebrated as heroes. The treasures they brought back were used to improve the lives of the people in Basra. But Sinbad knew that the real riches lay in the stories of their adventure and the camaraderie they had shared.